The last story of the day, $15 billion, the cost of the Liberal-NDP Pact in the federal budget.
That's it? Only $15 billion?
That's not too bad. They're saying there's going to be a $50 billion deficit.
Okay.
But this new pact is said to account for about $15 billion. There's obviously quite a bit to unpack there, and we won't be able to go through everything, but we will go through a couple of the housing and healthcare initiatives. The new dental care program, who's going to be excluded from that, and a couple other ideas
there's people excluded
to fix
from
the
it.
housing.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
No, it's just for a quick preview.
Yeah,
if you have an annual income, household income, less than $90,000, you'll be allowed.
Which isn't bad.
It's kind of an arbitrary line, but the point is,
because anyone who makes $90,000 or more should be able to
household. That's the idea.
Afford it yourself.
Anyways, we have opinions about that, but we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, I guess this is our first story of the day, so we might as well go through it.
Let's rock. First story of the day.
Pharmacare, dental care, housing. Where do you want to start?
Well, this is all, and we're talking about this because the budget was given yesterday.
That's right.
By the budget, by the financial guru. What's her first name again? Freeland?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, her last name's Freeland. But
financial guru. I don't know about that, but
she's the financial person for the country, right? So she delivered the budget yesterday.
Financial person, yeah.
Yeah. She's the finance go-to for Trudeau, delivering the budget.
We all know what you're talking
yesterday.
about. Yeah, we all know.
Christia Freeland?
It's really hard for me when I read articles like this. They always talk in billions, and I don't think the average person can really grasp
what a billion is?
What a billion really is.
1,000 million.
Yeah. But, can you really picture how much that is?
Well, just picture 1,000 million.
Can you picture a million, I guess, is the question?
That's 1,000 thousand.
I remember in this economics course, we learned about probability and that humans have a really hard time calculating relative probabilities. We basically have 3 probabilities.
Okay.
We have no chance, some chance, and very, very high chance.
So
humans really like those 3 probabilities. Pretty much everything in the middle is just there's some chance.
Yeah, it's like
and you can be swindled really easily.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're at Subway and say, "I want a little bit more olives, please." Oh, can you give me extra olives? And then say, "Can you give me extra olives?"
Yeah.
Let's say 3 categories usually works pretty good.
There's only really 3. So the point is, my ranting about that, the point is, when you're talking about money,
yeah, I know.
I think once you get to that level, it's just like a lot of money.
It
stops mattering. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So just to go along with what you're saying, so let's say the headline read 15 trillion.
Are you really going to know a difference? What
would
difference
the
does
average
that
person
make,
really understand that means more
money than the United States and Canada put together produce in the entire year?
$15 trillion it's going to cost. But people would just say, holy cow,
that's a lot of money.
It's getting to be a lot of money.
I think billion is we're almost desensitized to it now. We see that and we're like, eh.
Yeah, because there's many billionaires now.
Yeah.
There never used
Hundreds,
to be
a
lot of billionaires. There's very few billionaires.
Of
But now there's lots. They call them oligarchs in some countries.
I've never heard of a country... Well, when you think of an oligarchy, you think there's a limited amount of them. Mm-hmm. So now that there are thousands of billionaires, it makes me a little we might be entering into that's more normal.
Yep.
Never thought that would happen.
That's 1,000 million.
So let's go through a couple of these. So the budget allocates $5.3 billion over 5 years, and then $1.7 billion ongoing for the dental care program. Children under 12 will be covered this year, with the program expanding to those who are under 18, seniors, and people with disability will come the following year. Then the program will be available to families with an annual income less than $90,000 to be fully implemented by 2025. So that's a good roadmap of how that's going to roll out piece by piece so there's no shocks to the system. Pharmacare. The budget doesn't allocate any funds toward Pharmacare, but says the government will table a Pharmacare Bill and work to have it passed by the end of 2023. So if you're hoping for that, Didn't get it this time.
Come around the next time.
So obviously Singh wasn't too happy about that, but he said it's a good faith. They're at a good faith place right now. $15 billion is pretty good. It also outlines $6 billion on various housing initiatives. And I wish I knew more about these initiatives. I actually read through all of the federal party platforms back when the election happened in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember this specific one. They call it the Housing Accelerator Fund,
Okay.
which is focused on increasing the supply of housing because they want to have a net 100,000 new housing units in the next 5 years to make housing more affordable. More housing needs to be built. Couldn't agree more.
We need a housing solution for sure. Definitely.
We need more of it, yeah.
Yeah.
It says municipalities are able to get the support they need to modernize and build new homes. Again, I don't know how that's going to be rolled out. That's very vague, but $4 billion. That's
$4
roughly that. Well, again, when you get to these numbers, does it really matter anymore? But that's roughly all of the real estate in Greater Sudbury
combined
in value. So
yeah,
they're going to spend that in the next year.
So again, we also talked at length yesterday. So to continue our conversation, but with this particular subject, is money is only one element of a solution.
Yep.
But give. Let's think in your own circles out there. Your circle of friends. Think of the person you would trust the most with $100 of your money, and think of the person you would trust the least with $100 of your money. So either way, you have $100 of your money. That doesn't change. There's the amount. But if you give it to the one you trust the most and say, I need it back in 3 days, and then you give it to the one you trust the least and say, I need it back in 3 days, there's a difference between those two scenarios.
Of course.
So the same thing goes for programs or initiatives. Then money is one thing. The $1 billion you're going to throw at something. If the program itself is kind of like the one you trust the least, it's kind of set up to fail. If you really analyze
riskiest one.
It's risky. You analyze it, and it's just a wait. Look, so money is one thing, and if it goes towards something that's a great program, well thought out, trusted and true, it's been done in other areas, let's say in other countries possibly. Sure. It's a solution that works, and you're going to put your money into something that's really, it's almost guaranteed not to fail.
Sure.
Wow, now that's money well spent.
Wouldn't that be worth a little bit more if it was like guaranteed to work?
Yeah, but these budgets, when they just come out with, we're gonna spend $1 billion towards XYZ, and good, that's gonna solve the problem.
Clearly not.
No, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to solve the problem. It just means they're going to give $1 million towards that particular thing, and it might be like the person you don't trust with your money, and it just doesn't come back, or it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and it's
it's two things simultaneously. I think everyone listening to the show has made a bad investment that has not come back to them.
Yep.
And everyone on the show has thought while watching someone else do something, I could do that better than them.
For sure.
And those two things come together very frustratingly in politics.
Definitely.
So,
but they need money, so that's the one thing. You do need it. It's not like you can say we're going to do this for free. So it does have a financial component. But $15 billion is what this new budget means for new initiatives.
Sure.
And we're already $50 billion in deficit, with meaning our ongoing costs. We're running at a deficit.
Sure.
And what's our overall debt as a country?
Sure.
Do we know any of that? Are we into the trillions?
I don't like to talk about it too much.
You don't like to talk about the debt. Okay.
No. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
We're definitely not in a surplus situation.
No, about $50 billion deficit this year. Again, what is a billion? We don't even really know.
It's 1,000 million.
People can't even really picture that, but
picture 1,000 million.
I have a little analogy. I've wanted to write this down for a while, but I haven't. So this idea of like an isolated village in like a remote part of the world, and they have like a very entrepreneuring young man, and the only way to get in and out is by canoe, let's say.
Okay.
And they all really want like a specific product. It can be whatever you want, but let's say they want Snickers bars, and there's no way for them to get them in the village. So they all pool their money and say to this young man, like, we want you to go get Snickers bars
For us.
For us. We'll give you the money in advance, and then you bring them back to us. So what happens, he goes, let's say they give him $100. He could have afforded 100 Snickers bars. He comes back with many empty wrappers and like 2 or 3. And he says, it was a longer journey than I expected.
Yeah.
But if you give me 200 this time, I'll make up for the
Definitely
100 from
make
last
sure,
time.
yes.
And this time, I think I can get a better deal because if we have more money. Anyways, the
And that's
analogy
the way
is,
it goes on.
it's essentially what politics is. It's a
Yeah.
promise down the river
Yeah.
that we've been made 100 times before.
I know.
And we keep upping the investment,
Yeah.
hoping that this time it will be different.
Yeah.
So,
That's the definition of insanity, isn't it? In some ways?
yeah.
Hoping it'll be different.
But
doing
sometimes
same
the
thing.
people we elect are insane because
You know
we're
what?
just tired of it.
I think
So,
a lot of people listening or watching would agree with you on that, for
yeah.
sure.
No, there's a lot of there's been a lot of really good art about that, but I've
Oh,
been meaning
that's-
to write that down for a while.
Should there be a psychological assessment of anyone who's elected, possibly before they can be sworn in, before it could become official?
If you can
If
lie,
you elect
if you
somebody-
can lie convincingly, I don't think you should be allowed. It's too dangerous.
That's what I mean. Maybe there should be rigorous testing, physical, mental.
The next time the canoe comes back, oh well, we lost all the Snickers bars because I flipped the canoe.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything-
but if he can lie effectively, does it matter?
Alligators, it
It doesn't matter.
attacked
If you
my
can't
canoe.
tell if he's telling the truth,
That's right.
does it really matter?